no. I think that one goes back there. Hi, hello, and welcome to this channel. Welcome to this space. My name is Patrick. And that's apparently all you need to know. So it is June, and here in the States and in a lot of places in the world now, at roughly around this time, I feel end of May into early July, um, more specifically, the month of June is Pride Month, and I have the Pride Tarot that I ordered whenever it came out, 2020. Was it 2020? Had to be 2021. Oh, it was 2020. Yeah. Anyway, I got it. I'm gonna pull a few cards from it. The bottom of the deck is the title card, which I love. Hey, Steph, how you doing? I hope everything's doing well. I hope you're. No, she wasn't sick. Yeah. I don't know why I thought your granddaughter was sick for a second, but that's not why she couldn't visit. Excuse me. Or did you say somebody got sick? That was your granddaughter. That wasn't even your daughter. Anyway, I hope you're doing well, and I hope everyone's doing well. I kind of want to do the Pride spread, but I don't know. 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 I felt like I was going to say something. Eve, hi, hello, how are you? You're flying to okay. Oh, snap. I'm glad to hear it all worked out. I hope you have a safe flight and a quick and expeditious journey, but also safe journey. Hey, Holly, how you doing? But yeah, I'm glad to hear that y'all will end up spending time together. Um, what am I doing today? I feel like I was about to say something. Hold up. I feel like I'm having thoughts. And I'm like, wait. I feel like my brain is trying to go in like at least three different directions at once. Like three different directions when I said different directions. And because it's like going in these different directions at one time, I can't catch the thought. It'll be your first time on a plane? Well, I hope you love it. I love flying. I don't do it all the time. I've done it more in recent years for longer. Um, your internet is out today? No, gross. I hope your internet comes back, and I'm glad you have a phone to watch on. Anyway, how's everybody been? Life is lifing. Nine of Swords in reverse. I mean, the whole deck is probably in reverse. Or not. Ooh, with the Wheel of Fortune and the Fool behind it. Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing today. Ooh, no! Oh, no! Wow! Wow! I would be upset. Can he just show up? can he? Can he just like? Can he go in and get that time back? I would be so mad. Well, I took. Okay, I didn't end up taking it off. It events transpired in such a way that I was home for the release of God of War Ragnarok, and then I got sick, and I didn't end up playing it for a long time. Um, you tried to upload Libra 4 times and a no go. Oh snap! Is it because of the internet? So I'm assuming you can hear me because I actually meant to check because at the end of the video, at the last time I was live, the audio went out. I'm like, okay, well, and then I guess because I knew what I was talking about, a part of me isn't fully surprised because there was a video I did. Like I said, like that's a topic that came up a long time. That topic actually came up in the time frame that I'm referencing or that I referenced. It was around there where it came up. But there was one video that I did, and like I went live. I'm pretty sure, I'm like 99% sure it was before any of you were here because it was 2020. There was like a week that I went live. And there was one day where I recorded it. It had audio. When I uploaded it, it didn't have audio. I still had the file on my computer because I uploaded it. And the file had audio, but on YouTube it didn't. And I was like, okay. Well, Eve, you might just have to go live from your phone. You might just have to post live in order to keep content circulating and uploading on the channel. It might have to happen. Apparently something's going. Technology's been weird today. Cause at work, like, I mean, there were some minor issues yesterday. Hey Perry, how you doing? There were some minor issues yesterday. Um, but today, like, it kept like the laptops kept disconnecting from the display. And then I went to go talk with a buddy, and like he was having trouble with his electronics. Ariel, hi, hello, how are you? I actually have a friend who's on the Big Island right now. I was like, oh my journey buddy is on the Big Island. So if you felt some good energy drop on the Big Island and it feels Patrick adjacent, I'm kidding. Anyway, my journey buddy is on the Big Island because she was like, I'm going to Hawaii. And I was like, oh, like, which island are you on? And she's like, the Big Island. I was like, oh, I know somebody on the Big Island that created a radio wave blackout yesterday. Oh, snap. I don't know which side she's on. I've kind of trying to been letting her enjoy her vacation. Also, I've been surviving my re-entrance into the workforce. Feeling a little better today. Who knew that sitting for 8 hours a day could be so taxing and so draining? It does. Okay, I'm not gonna say it's my journey buddy on the Big Island right now, but my journey buddy does have amazing energy. Like, we started our journeys. We had our darkest nights, both of us, at the end of 2018, but at like 2019 January, we're like, we're gonna hit it. I actually saw her in maybe August or September of 2019, and I was literally speechless. Like, her energy, like interacting with her, like over the phone and like virtually was one thing, but like meeting her in person years ago. So who knows what she feels like now. Um, but meeting her in person, like, oh, she literally just sent me a Snapchat. She's like, hope you're having the best first week at work, babe. Oh my gosh. OMG. Did you hear me talking about you in the ethers? 1 second. Are you on here? Because I ended up sending her my channel. So Okay. Um. Yeah. So I met her in person, and I was like speechless. I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like what?" So yeah. Fog be gone. Neptune. Neptune is. I don't know. Where's Neptune right now? On my Mercury, I think. Well, Neptune's been on my Mercury for a minute. My Mercury is late Pisces. Excuse me. Yes. I'm so tired. Okay. What am I doing today? Maybe it's just a chat day. Why don't somebody. Ooh. How am I going to use this? I have the book too. So the Pride Tarot is a collaboration deck. Every card is illustrated and um, written by a different person. Some people have like multiples, like a few. Um, so they're like different art styles, different like entry styles in the book. Like the Seven of Cups in this deck is like one of my favorite. The Seven of Cups in this deck is my favorite Seven of Cups card. The Ten of Wands in this deck, I was literally talking about earlier today. Um, and it's so like I had a dream when I was like literally in kindergarten or first grade, literally kindergarten or first grade. Cause I remember I told my really good friend at the time, and I think I only knew him in kindergarten because he moved away early in elementary school when I was early in elementary school. And I had a dream about these two guys. I saw these two guys in this dream, and I told the friend about them literally like last week. I was looking at somebody that I recently met, and I was like, oh my gosh, like you're one of the guys from the dream. And then today I told him about it, and he was like, what? And then I was like, yeah, in the dream you were like, this is who you were in the dream. And he was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy because this is who I am in real life. And I'm like, oh well, okay, I've had enough. I've had enough for today. I'm fine, it's cool. Literally like dreamed about this guy when I was a kid, to meet him probably like 2.5 decades later. We'll say 2 decades. We'll be generous. We'll be nice. Ba 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 bum 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 ba 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 bum. What are we doing today? Give me a card. Just give me. Sure, we'll take that one. Ooh, the Three of Pentacles. It's the Pride Tarot. Okay, so I guess if you're offended by any LGBTQIA plus things, then like, why are you here? You probably aren't here, but if you are, like, why? There's such a like. I feel like the Three of Pentacles isn't usually a card that. I feel like the Three of Pentacles isn't usually a card that necessarily carries so much feeling with it. But there's so much in this card, and there's this energy of, because I can't remember if it's written in this card in particular in the book, but there's an energy here of like finding the love that you should have gotten from certain people and other people. It's like the love of a family member, like the love that family should have for family that wasn't there. But then you find like that love from like a surrogate mother or father or whoever. Um, Me neither. That's why, like, I'm glad to not get any astrology. I'm glad to not get any astrology questions anymore. Not that I was ever necessarily inundated with astrology questions. 1 second. Thank you. Yeah, like I said, oh, this one's illustrated by Joanne Powell Colbert or Cole. I'm just showing you. That's the name. That is it French? I don't know. It's not like Colbert. It's Colbert. Let's read it. Why not? Wands, Cups, Pentacles. 3. The 3 of Pentacles is about collaboration, teamwork, and coming together with others to create something that benefits the greater community. An elderly woman offers free grandma hugs at a pride parade to any young person who has been rejected by their own family because of their sexual orientation. Other friends and family members also carry signs of love and support. The entire parade is a community collaboration that proclaims to the world that LGBTQ plus youth are loved, celebrated, and supported just as they are. I chose to interpret the 3 of Pentacles in this way after being moved to tears at our local Pride Parade, watching so many young people being embraced by surrogate mothers, fathers, and grandparents. So, yeah, it was in the card. But again, like, it applies to, like, there are implications outside of just the community. I think also, too, there's this energy of like me, right? I mean, fortunately for me, I could literally drive down the street and see my grandma and get a grandma hug, but I haven't ever, like, I honestly, I haven't spent as much time with my grandma this year, um, which I should probably do while, we still have each other. Um, but I'm sure she'll be grabbing me soon because she'll need my help. Anyway, there's something here about not even just love, since it is the 3 of Pentacles. There's something about like finding resources and places that we wouldn't have necessarily thought to look for them. And it's also like with the emphasis on community, it's something that's like a communal effort. It's very much like everyone has a piece of the puzzle. Anyway, like I said, it's the alignment in the universe right now is crazy, in a good way. The energy is fluid and quick in a good way. Let's see. Let's get 3 cards for the 3 contributing forces. Oof. Energy number 1, energy number 2, energy number 3, and then the bottom of the deck will be what they collaborate together to work towards, or what they collaborate together to remedy. We'll see. Pyrimidine is a nucleic. Oh no, it didn't hit the floor and then it hit the floor. Pyrimidine is a nucleic acid. Is it a nucleic acid? Purine and pyrimidine. Yeah, they're nucleic acids. We making DNA. Pyrimidine. There we go. Pyrimidine. A colorless crystalline compound with basic properties. Thank you. A substituted derivative of. Wait. Girl. An aromatic heterocyclic organic compound similar to pyridine. One of the three diazines, it has nitrogen atoms at position 1 and 3 in the ring. Pyrazine. Okay, girl. What are the pyrimidines for DNA? One of two chemical compounds that cells use to make the building blocks of DNA and RNA. Examples of pyrimidines are cytosine, thymine, and uracil. Cytosine and thymine are used to make DNA, and cytosine and uracil are used to make RNA. So it's A's, G's, T's, and C's. So the adenosine and the guanine must be the purines. So we're talking, yeah, purines. Purine. What's that Pyrine? Purines, adenine and guanine. I said adenosine, didn't I? Adenosine triphosphate. I'm thinking ATP. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. My cellular biology or whatever is rusty. Um, oh, so purines are 2 carbon nitrogen rings. Pyrimidines are 1 carbon nitrogen rings. If anybody wanted to know. If anyone was. Uh-huh. Don't let me forget the card on the floor, please. Lateoi. I've also been kind of singy, if you haven't noticed. It's fine. All right. So the second one. I don't know why. Why did pyrimidines pop into my mind? I don't know. What was it? Thymine, uracil, and cytosine. Why are the building blocks of DNA popping into my mind? Why pyrimidine in particular? Why not purine? I don't know. I feel like I need to read Sagittarius. I feel like a lot more Sagittarius readings will be happening probably soon through the nature of my work. Oh gosh. All right. All right. Do I need to pick up the one off the floor first? No. Okay. So contributor number 2. Contributor number 2. Who are you? Speak now, please. Or not. It might be. It might turn into one. Contributor number 2. Contributor number 2. Oh, no. And it went on the floor too. They hit the laptop and then they go on the floor. Contributor number 1 has went to join, or contributor number 2 has gone to join contributor number 1 on the floor. Contributor number 3. I feel like if contributor number 3 falls out on the laptop and it doesn't go on the floor, it speaks to that again. Sort of like finding resources in places that you didn't necessarily expect it. It's a communal effort. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle. And one day you may be going somewhere and someone's like, here's this piece. And they're like, oh my gosh, is that your piece? Here's my piece. And you're like, wait, I have the third of this set. How did that happen that we're all here at the same time? It's almost like it's divine or something. If it also goes on the floor, then forget everything I literally just said. Ooh, okay, that one's not on the floor. It like turned over nice and slow, and then I was able to like let it naturally slide. And it's the Two of Swords. The bottom of the deck, what this creates is the Hanged Man. Womp womp. Or that's why I was intentional. What does it create or alleviate? It alleviates the Hangman. But with this being the only energy we see under the Hangman is the Magician. The Magician that was at the bottom of the deck when I started shuffling. Anyway. Um it's like with this being the only card we see, with this almost being the position of us and whatever this energy is, it's no surprise that the Hangman is the energy at the bottom of the deck and that this collaboration will come in and try to like help alleviate this energy. Again, I don't know what the other two cards are yet because I didn't pull them off of the floor. Um, there's like this resource management. Best friends for life. You got new DNA seed codes for Libra. Oh, snap. And the video that it won't let you upload, they said, nah, let Libra figure. They said, let Libra figure it out for a second. Let Libra sit in this energy of Libra, literally first decan of Libra. And then after they stewed in it for a little bit, then you can upload your video and that Hangman energy will pass. Speaking of Neptune, water, the Hanged Man, Pisces because it's Neptune. Yeah. Boo. Now let me find these cards. It reminds you of the Deviant Moon Tarot. I see that. What's interesting about this? Hold up, wait. What's interesting about this Two of Swords card is, though, that it's almost like both sides are poised to cut their own neck or to behead themselves. Like if you follow the white arm, you can see that that sword is like pointed back at its own neck. It's not them trying to like cut off each other's heads. So it's almost a little bit of that, like, what is it like? Don't cut off your nose to spite your face or whatever. Um, oh, all I need is a flashlight. I'm like, why did I pick up this phone? Let's see. Card number 1 is face down. Card number 2. Guess what card number 2 is? Card number 2 is literally the first card that we saw. Oh my gosh. Can you believe? It's the 9 of Swords. I don't know if this is the first card that fell or the second because I didn't pick them up. The third card is the World. So because of this, it seems like one contributor is a lot more helpful than the other. So these are the three: the Two of Swords, the Nine of Swords, and the World are the three contributors in this Three of Pentacles, in the Three of Swords energy. In the Three of Pentacles energy. I said it right. In the Three of Pentacles energy, we have the World, the Two of Swords, and the Nine of Swords. What they create or alleviate, they may actually do both, is the Hanged Man. I feel like when they're not, there's something about like getting all three of these on the same page. And it's probably like, it feels like the World card is like ready. It feels like the real difficulty in finding a common ground is reconciling the Two of Swords with the Nine of Swords. But because this Two of Swords is so, girl, this is heavy. We just got like real heavy real quick. I'm gonna ask Siri to flip a coin. If Siri does not say heads, then we're just gonna move on. I learned that trick from my mom. Hey Siri, flip a coin. Tails. Siri did not say heads, so I'm just gonna move on. There's something here because of the two of swords and the nine of swords. There's something here about individuals who don't put themselves in the game, or individuals who would take themselves off of the board. But again, because this is the three of pentacles, it's like every piece is needed. So there's an energy that has to like, it's almost like this yeah. Didn't necessarily think we'd just like jump so heavy into it, but here we are. Siri did give me permission to just like leave this. Um, but I mean, again, with this three of pentacles, with this three of pentacles being what it is, there's a reason why someone would feel like that because of the things that they don't, because of the things that they didn't receive in those places where they should have. In an ideal world, that they would have. But everyone's path isn't necessarily ideal. And I feel like that would be the reason why like a healing has to be done before something can come to pass. Because with this two of swords, like this is an unwilling participant or a non-contributing participant. And without that contribution, nothing would come to pass, like nothing would come into being, which is again like that's why these energies they create hanged man while they're not on the same page, while they're not participating. But when they all come together, it's like it alleviates, it relieves that hangman energy, and then you can get into the magician. The page of cups is behind the magician, which is it's almost like when you have the magician, and especially when you have an energy like this, it's like the hanged man would be a good thing just because it's like you wouldn't want, it's almost like it's that opportunity of a lifetime. I'm not going to say it is, I'm not going to say it isn't, I'm just telling you what it feels like. Use your own intuition, discernment, guidance, wisdom, all use your own facilities and faculties of your own mind and heart and body and soul and spirit, and those in that you know get wise counsel and aid and guidance from. But it's like it's one of those like you wouldn't want to get the opportunity of a lifetime, only it's like you wouldn't want to get it before you're ready for it because you wouldn't want to lose it, you wouldn't want to pass it up, you wouldn't, it's like it's one of those things where like you could give like 100% to it if you didn't have a million other things going on, and because you have other things going on that are also very important that occupy so much of your mind, heart, body, soul, spirit, whatever, that you aren't necessarily fully present in this space, that it would be very productive for you to be. And so it's like with this hanged man, it's almost like it puts that on a pause until you're ready. And then it begins. The page of cups, like the daughter of cups. Well, I guess if I say too much, then it'll shut down the audio on the video. I don't know. Because the daughter of cups literally came out, and I'm talking about the daughter of cups and why I went looking for what I went looking for, and then I'm watching it back and there's no audio. If there was audio for you, let me know, I guess, because when I try to watch it back, I don't hear anything, but I know when I say it. But I didn't hear anything come out of my mouth. I just saw me picking up cards, picking up more cards anyway. Um, the page of cups brings in an element of inexperience or naivete, which again, it isn't bad. But with the magician, because every single tool is important, if that page of cups is in a space, not in a space. Again, it's just that like it would be better to get that opportunity when you don't have all those burdens. And it's not to say that nothing will happen or nothing is happening. It's not to say that at all. But it's like there's this it's like I'm the way it's coming into my mind. I don't know if it's because of this two of swords, but it's coming into my mind as like a chessboard. And I don't see any hands, but there's a piece that's trying to be removed from the board. And there's like this force field that keeps the piece in the vicinity of that board. So it's like you can't take this piece off the board. It's almost like if you play a game like chess on the internet and they don't let you make moves that piece can't make. Like if you try to move your pawn diagonally 5 spaces, it's like, girl, who you think you is? You ain't the king. You can't just move across the board like that. That ain't how it worked for you. I say that because I got whooped. I got creamed by before we recorded, I think the episode before last of the podcast, we played chess and I'm like, I don't know the rules. And I was like, why isn't it letting me move this piece here? It also wouldn't let me make it was torture. That was torture. Because it wouldn't let me make any move that would cause me to lose the game, but I couldn't make any move to win either. So it just became this game of me avoiding losing, but I can't make any progress either. I was like, just let me go. And the game said no. You're too important to just be let go. But anyway, that's how it's coming to my mind. As as that like a piece trying to be removed, but there's like this it's like a blue force field that keeps the piece like in the vicinity of the board. But again, I didn't necessarily think we'd be getting that deep today. I mean, if it's needed, it's needed, and that's why I'm not gonna just like be like, okay, because real life is real life. But I've seen something. I'll see posts and I'll hear people talk about how like a lot of things that are easier said than done. And it's anything that I say on this channel is never to like call anybody out. I hope that people who watch me would know that I'm not here to like do whatever. But there are certain things that may like come across my awareness, and I'm like, for me, for Patrick, I appreciate the sentimentality, but in real life, we can say, we can declare, we can do all of this stuff, but like there has to be a foundation for it. Like there has to be a ground for us to put that on within ourselves to begin building on top of it, if that makes any sense. But I saw something that was like, and again, like I'm not trying to whatever, but it was like, stop looking at your hurt and your pain as like traumatic and this and that, and start looking at it as a lesson for you to learn. Which is, it's to me, it's one of those things that it's like when you're at that point, it's a sentimentality that you understand because you're in a position where you can do that. But if you're not yet in a position because of how fresh a wound is or because of how deep within it you are, just like reading or hearing or even saying or chanting something that at the very least like involves a feeling, it doesn't necessarily like do anything. Because it's like you're like you can say something all day long, but if you don't have like the feeling behind it, it's like it's flat. There's no, and it's one of those things where it's like, you say one thing, but you deeply feel another thing. Sometimes the universe operates more off of feelings than words alone. If you say it enough, you'll start to believe it, like fake it till you make it. But like Beyonce said, trying to fake it never makes it, that we all know. Sometimes it do, sometimes it don't. It does, it gives you the space to like allow that, but it was just one of those things that was like, if that's not where you are, you can't necessarily just like say it and then instantaneously be there. Does it feed a counter narrative? Is it important to provide a counter narrative? Yes, of course. But we as individuals, as humans, like if you can't immediately like believe the thing, or if you don't immediately feel this like 180 shift in your whole energetic emotional makeup, like it's understandable, you're human. You were just crying like 2 seconds ago because of how much this hurts, and if you don't see somebody say like, oh, you should look at it this way. Maybe that's also because I'm like super like, I'm a water sign. I'm the type of person that gotta feel my feelings. I have to honor myself and I have to honor my feelings. And I've personally found, especially within the past few months, within the past month, within the past month. I was gonna say the past few weeks, but it's already June. Within the past month in particular, I've noticed that like there are times that whenever I can accurately, for me, whenever I can accurately like deduce or detect or identify. Whenever I can accurately identify a feeling, it makes it easy. Like I work through it a lot faster. And it's one of those things within me. I don't know if it's the pact of honesty and truth and camaraderie that I formed with my shadow, but it's like as long as I continue to like misattribute or misidentify like what the feeling is or where it's coming from within me, I've noticed that it just like it grows and grows and it gets like more and more intense. But whenever I'm able to be like, oh, like the reason why I feel this way is because of feelings that I still currently hold. It's not because I used to feel like this and I don't anymore. Because as I continue to think like, oh, I used to feel like this, and that's why this emotion is coming up right now, then it was like bubbling over, bubbling over, bubbling over. And I was like, oh no, like I still feel like this. I currently feel like this. And then like again, when I identified it, that's when like it started to sort of simmer. Or that's when it was reduced to a simmer and then eventually taken off the heat. Because then I guess at this point, especially, like that was also years ago when I would be like, get comfortable with complex emotion because I'm the type of person who has become a lot more comfortable with complex emotion. Like it's okay for me to feel this way and to feel this way at the same time. One feeling does not invalidate the other. And in fact, for me, it's the presence of these two feelings at once that are making this situation right now what it is. So this one that I'd like to push into the past, it's a lot more in my now moment than, but again, that's something that a developing and expanding conversation within myself in those times and moments. That's how I've learned to identify those things within me, and that's how they resolve themselves within me. And it was literally, it wasn't until that experience almost a month ago where I really pieced it together. Because I did notice like there were some things that I would get over, like the well of emotion would like whoo, it would almost take me there. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to just like watch a sad movie and cry myself to sleep. And as I'm like, I'm going there and I'm processing through it and I'm like hyping myself up, like getting all down in the dumps. And then it's like as I get lower and lower, that pearl would start to shine at the bottom of all of it. And I go, oh, it's because I feel like this. And like I still want that or I don't want this. And like it's this whole complicated emotional thing that's happening right now because of feelings that I currently actively hold. And then it's like again, like you take the pot off of the eye and then it just the pressure releases. And I'm like, okay, well, now I'm feeling better. Now I'm not gonna cry myself to sleep, I guess. Even though I haven't cried myself to sleep in a minute. Low key. And I'm a Pisces. So like when I get there, I'm like, I'm ready to go there. I'm ready to cry and cry. And then I'm like, okay. Or it'll be like, well, you didn't do this one thing. And I'm like, oh, you're right. I kind of still want to cry about it, but I guess I can't. I don't know. Anyway, not to make this all about me, but it was that because I've just been like, every now and then I'll see it. And I know we all know it's easier said than done. But I think sometimes it's almost like when you're taking a test, not saying it is a test, but it's like when you're taking a test and you're prompted to show your work, to like to work through the problem and not just like circle the correct answer. It's like the correct answer is worth like point 0.2 of the points. Let's say it's a 1 point question. 0.2 of those points is the correct answer. 0.8 of those points lies in the journey of showing the work. And as you show your work, you accumulate more and more and more and more points. So you can still pass the test, even if you get every single answer wrong. If your work is right, then you're only losing like a fifth of a point at every question. You lose a fifth of the point every time, you're still at 80%. You're passing. But I think sometimes it's like something comes in, or we make these sort of like um, spiritually incited leaps, and we skip over, or we try to skip over everything in between that actually helps us reach that point and to exist in a way where it's like that becomes our more natural state or whatever. They let you upload Pisces, but they didn't let you upload Libra. Oof. Anyway, you're currently satiating your feelings with ginger rice and baby green onions. I am starving and I didn't get myself anything to eat on the way home, and I should have. So, yeah. No, Eva! I wish I could love you enough for the both of us. Unfortunately, like self love doesn't work that way. But if it did, trust me, you'd love yourself a lot. You'd have immense, I know, you'd have more love for you than you'd be able to know what to do with. Um, oh, it doesn't have her name on it. Look, that's where my journey buddy is right now. She just sent me that picture. I was like, "Oh, I ain't trying to put her name out there. Her first, her government. I ain't trying to put her government out there." Anyway, I feel like I need clarifiers, and I already know what it is that I want to clarify. Ow! The reason. I was supposed to take care of that earlier. That's maybe the reason why I'm not using my desk today is because I didn't feel like moving the stuff on it, and you just struggle like we all do sometimes. Oh, well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Because that in and of itself is improvement. Not saying that you didn't before, girl. I'm glad to hear you say that, Eve. Because you're right. It is a struggle a lot of times. I feel like I've done some work to heal my Leo, my Chiron in Leo. And sometimes I'm like, maybe I did it a little too well. Other times I am very much like, oh, my Chiron in Leo, like. But sometimes I'm like, um, and it's like, okay, well, and then I'm like, why am I like this? See the brighter side of every situation. What's that? iCarly. I was like, I know what that is. Leave it on to me. Just leave it on me. Oh, it was that when you got home. Speaking of, I know a Pisces that needs to go to the dentist. I know two of them actually. Anyway, I'm curious about this Three of Swords. So let's clarify this. I'm going to use the Santa Muerte mini tarot. Am I pulling? Or are you falling? I'll do one of these shuffles. You know that shuffle that encourages cards to fall. Watch them still not fall. Oh, and it's on the floor. Great. Awesome. That is exactly what I wanted. I wanted you to go on the floor. I'm of the personal belief that you don't have to wait for conjunctions to heal something. It takes 50 years for Chiron to return to the exact spot in my natal chart that it was in, but I'm going to have a trine every time Chiron is in the same element. I'm going to have a sextile when Chiron is like before and after. There are going to be squares that if you know how to use energy, whenever Chiron's in the same modality, I can use a square, I can use an opposition. All I got to do is surrender to it. And it can happen at any point. I'm not the type of person that's like, oh, I got to wait 100 years. I gotta wait 250 years for Pluto to return to where it was in my natal chart in order for me to heal. No, it makes aspects. It does all kind of stuff, and it's something that you can always do within you. I don't have to wait for anything, but I understand what it is that you're saying. But yeah, I don't subscribe to that. I feel like humanity has kept itself stuck in way too many ways by utilizing tools to keep themselves stuck rather than utilizing tools to take advantage of those opportunities to liberate themselves whenever they can. But, we all have our own journeys and it all goes at our own time. So for some people, it takes like 50 years. But the universe constantly provides opportunities for healing and stuff like that. So, Temperance is the card that came out to clarify this Two of Swords. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, it's, it's. I don't want to get. See, this is why I fell out with astrology. I don't want to get too heated. I don't want to get too. But it's just it's one of I don't know. I've. it, it's fine. It's like I've lived enough life, and I've been human myself long enough to know when we don't take advantage of opportunities that are presented to us. And because we don't when they're presented, or because we don't in the ways that they are presented for whatever reason, we decide to take a longer way. And then we can utilize anything that is meant to help us at any point as a justification for, like, oh, not now, like later. I procrastinate a lot in real life. I reached the point in my journey where I was like, I'm not procrastinating on me. I can procrastinate on applying for this. I can procrastinate on doing that. But what I'm not going to procrastinate on too much is doing the stuff that I need to do to take care of me, to get me to where I want to be, because I've lived that life for long enough. And because the universe constantly is showing me how sweet life can be. And I've lived misery. I've lived rejecting opportunity. I'm not doing it anymore. Everything is moving, and Patrick is moving with it. And so when the universe wants to pick up pace, hey, I had my thorny giant portal to work through all of that stuff that keeps me from getting on board. I'm on board. I'm strapped in. I'm ready to go. And things are moving. But anyway, but anyway, and again, it's just like, I don't know. It's almost like when you have a friend who runs into the same wall like time and time again, and you love your friend, and you're like, hey, like when you can, like, it happens often enough that you can see it, and you're like, and when you try to tell them, maybe they're receptive to it, maybe they're not receptive to it, and then they do it again. If you didn't catch it on the sextile, if you didn't catch it on the trine, if the square was too hard and the opposition was impossible, then maybe by the time you get that conjunction again, you'll figure it out. Maybe you won't, and you'll take another cycle. I don't know. Anyway, it's just not my personal belief, you know. But it's fine. But yeah, that's the reason why I fell out with astrology. And I'm like, and when they're like, because it was like, it was just at that point when I would listen to people talk about like a transit that took 100 years or 200 years or 500 years, and they're like, well, the last time this transit happened, humanity was going through this. And in my mind, all I hear and all I see is like, so you're telling me that in the past 500 years, in the past 250 years, we haven't gotten it together enough to not be in this exact same position when it comes around? We haven't gotten it together enough to like be able to move past this? Like, in all of that time, none of this got resolved. What were we doing? Because every time a planet retrograde, people like to be like, "Oh, well, this retrograde means we can clean it up." But girl, like, what? No, anyway. I missed you. I'm missing you, Steph. I'm sorry. Hopefully, you at least get better internet in Oklahoma for a little bit before you make it back. But yeah, anyway, those opportunities are like always there. So yeah. Anyway, anyway, anyway. I'm sorry to just like, ooh, no. And I still feel this way, and I'm gonna feel this way because it's like it becomes one of those like, you can't want more for someone than they want for themselves, and you can't wish for anything. You can't wish anything for someone faster or quicker or sooner than they want it for themselves. Like, you can, but it doesn't benefit anybody to rush, and it doesn't benefit anybody to rush anybody else. So it becomes one of those like, we all have our own truths, we all have our own beliefs. But for me, for Patrick, Patrick's going to try to take advantage of every single opportunity that he can, so that he can North Node Sagittarius say it like it is sometimes, and Chiron and Leo not be afraid to actually say it or to take center stage or to have a little attention, because it doesn't do me any good to like, it's this like partially like we all operate at our own pace, but it's also partially this like, you know what I mean? I don't know what this is. For anyone who speaks with hands, I don't know. Thanks. You did, and it's fine. I'm okay being triggered. Triggers happen. I'm not like, I don't know. I got triggered so that if I got triggered, it's important to me. And there are certain things that are important to me. And one of the things that's important to me is like the more people who are there in life, the better Earth is for everybody. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, Patrick is going to do what Patrick needs to do to get Patrick where he's going. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to end up happening. But if I can, at some point along the way, just like offer a different perspective or like try to frame it in another way. Cause I really like, I don't know if it's the divine that I believe in, or I don't know if it's the divine I believe in partnered with the way that I know us as humans to be. Where it's like when the narrative was so heavy on that, like, the healing journey is never over. It's like, why? You got to wait 50 years to heal something? Why? Why would a loving, compassionate, caring divine that so many people talk about force us to suffer for any number of years without any opportunity to alleviate that sooner or earlier? Anyway, I don't know. I don't know. No, you're fine. It's like I said, it's not. It's just maybe it's like it's both sides of that. Like we don't have to rush, but we also don't have to take longer. And I'm not going to say that I see anything happening in the collective, to the collective, or for the collective. It's just, I don't know. It's fine. Anyway, anyway. Sorry, Holly, if you felt attacked. I can't apologize for sharing my truth, and I'm not going to ask you. I would never ask you to apologize for sharing yours. Um, it's just a point of difference. So yeah. Anyway, life can be hard. I know that. Nine of Swords. It feels like the Nine of Swords and the Two of Swords are already working together. Well, the Nine of Swords is face down, but it stayed on the table. The World card. What about the World? The World card. Please. Oh, no. I'm going to pick the World card. No, I won't. Will I? Let's see. 5, 4. And up there it is. It flipped over. The Six of Cups. Bottom of the deck is the Ace of Cups. Water. The Ace of Cups is literally like water. The entirety of the element of water. The Hanged Man is traditionally the element of water. Interesting. Is it? The Six of Cups has come out with the World. Now it's almost like one of those what goes around, comes around, and around. Yeah, it's fine. Um, this is almost it's an energy of the universe. This is one of those like I'm not gonna say it's one of those non-sentient parts of the universe because I feel like that's a little extreme, and I'm already toting the line right now. This is like that law of attraction, law of manifestation, where the mind goes, where energy goes, attention where attention goes, energy flows. The Six of Cups can be like nostalgia, but the Six of Cups can just as readily be like trauma, both based in the past. Which is why, again, it's like this energy can so easily create a hangman, or it can so easily, or just as easily, if not more easily, break it. Yeah. I try to, well, I guess at this point, the faith keeps me. I've lived enough for faith to keep me. And then you end up finding out, it's like, okay, all right, all right. There's no way I could have done any better. Whoever is operating the everything does a fantastic job. And it's, of course, it's easier to feel like that when you're at the point anyway. It's fine. I'm trying to look at the Six of Cups, see what I get. 2, 4, 5. Am I missing the six? Or no? Or no? Or no? Oop, hold it. Somebody might be talking about food. Oh, donuts. I was looking for food, not donuts. That's a fountain in the back. There's this fountain in the back, right? Apparently, this is how I'm reading. I'm looking for the thing that I'm supposed to see, and it's difficult with the Six of Cups, being honest. But there's this fountain in the back, right? And there's a bucket that's being filled at the fountain. This lady, maybe she's not struggling. Maybe she is. This lady is trying to carry all of these cups somewhere. And it's almost like it'd be easier if you just like leave the cups where they were. Take the bucket, fill the bucket up with water, and then like fill the cups with the water that you bring from the bucket. It's easier to carry one bucket than it is six cups. The Six of Cups, Temperance, and Mystery card is the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups on this Nine of Swords. The six, yeah, I'm like, what is this? Sometimes I wish I did get the bigger deck because I feel like it'd be easier to see some of these details. Um, See, this is why Siri was like, don't even talk about it. Siri was like, just let it go. Just let it be. And I was like, no. If Siri doesn't say tails, I'm actually gonna just move on. Hey Siri, flip a coin, please. Can you not speak? Hello? I'm gonna turn the volume up. Oh, well, the volume was down. Hey Siri, flip a coin.
It's tails this time.
Oof. Siri said tails. Siri said tails before too, but since you couldn't hear it, I hope Siri would say heads. So with the clarifiers, there's this energy of sometimes when we can't give those things to ourselves, there are others that help us, that help like show us how to do it. Or there are others that teach us how we want it to be done. And maybe that's what the Six of Cups is with this world card. It's like maybe there have been people in the past, because it's all cups, it's easier to say it's people. It could also be opportunities, it could be jobs, because who's at jobs? People. Who hires for jobs? People. Who are the consumers and customers and stakeholders? People. And then it gets weird when there's like money, but there's still a person somewhere. See you later, Eve. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you have an amazing evening. And I will be taking a sip of my wine. And not in honor of you, but I don't need a reason to drink. I'm kidding. Um, with the Six of Cups in the world, there's this energy of like there have been events, people, places, things in the past that we look at favorably, and there have been people, places, events in the past that we don't look at favorably. There have been good relationships, good jobs, hopefully, maybe. There have been not great relationships and not great jobs, hopefully not. But it's like in those moments of interaction, that's where we sort of learn what we like and what we don't like. That's when we learn how we like to be shown appreciated, how we like to be shown appreciation, and the things that it's just like diminishing returns that don't necessarily mean a lot to us. And it's like with the again here, it's like it's this purpose of showing us what we like and what we want, not necessarily in a like it's like that's it, nothing more, nothing less. There's more and less, of course, but in the context of this, we're like paring it down. Because then with the Nine of Swords is the Two of Cups. And that feels like with the things that we don't see, or whenever our own mind is a little racy, and whenever it's hard to get a grip and to like find, to like have a clarity, like this Two of Cups feels like a calming presence. Like when this skeleton puts their hand on that skeleton's heart, all of this like racing, anxiety filled Nine of Swords energy, like it calms down. And then with the Two of Swords and Temperance, it feels like that's that moment, or those are those moments where it's easy to say, like low hanging fruit, like those are those moments where healing happens. But more than that, and again, really pulling on the Nine of Swords and the Two of Cups, it's like those are those times. Hey, David, how you doing? Those are those times where we get to experience other. And again, it feels like it just further clarifies this Three of Pentacles. It's when we find love from people and places that we didn't necessarily expect it, maybe because we didn't get it in other ways where we feel we should have, maybe where we should have actually. Um, and it's also like, glad to hear it. Glad to hear you're doing good. Also glad to hear you're working if you're glad you're working. Because working ain't no joke. Anyway. Again, it's like it falls like it's what we do for each other. And then at a certain point, again, it's like if it's hard for us to find, then others can be They can help us find it within ourselves. It's almost like someone is holding the line long enough for us to like gather the strength to hold it ourselves. Or it's like with you, like if you're standing in line and you're waiting for something and you have to go to the restroom and you're there with someone else and you're like, hey, like, can you save my spot while I go to the potty and take a potty break? And they're like, yeah. It's almost like that. And again, it reminds me of that, like, a friend is someone who sings the words of our heart when we forget the lyrics. And it's like it's almost like it was an area of drought because now that the rain is like falling, it's gonna fill that cup. So that's like heavy emotional release. But there's also been like heavy emotions in here. And again, it feels like with this Three of Pentacles in particular, it's like there's something that's somewhat of a surprise. It didn't happen when you thought it would happen. It didn't happen where you thought it would happen. It wasn't the person that you thought would have been whatever, or it wasn't the job. It was like the one that you had counted out, the one that you didn't expect much from, you may be the most surprised by. And under that Ace of Cups is the Hierophant. But this Hierophant feels more like this Hierophant feels like divine at this point. At this point, Hierophant feels like everything that needed to be done to get you wherever you're going, to get us wherever we're going, was done. Almost like the Hierophant has like a checklist, and it's very much so like a job well done. With a good third tablet. I love the internet and computers and video games. So I like them. I wouldn't say I love them. I would on most days, but I like them. I like them today. Every now and then, technology just like amazes me with how interconnected it is and how easily it is to like retain productivity across different platforms and like, you know, anyway. I want one card for like what would have started this because I'm probably gonna end it. Well, there you go. What would have like what we would have moved on to had I just walked away? The Seven of Cups with the Two of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. I did say this is like my favorite Seven of Cups card. I'll read it for you. Illustrated by Lisa Hunt. Almost said Lisa. Lisa is Elisa is what, antigen testing, I think, where you basically test for compatibility. You put part A in the bottom of the well and you fill up all the wells and then you rinse them out. And if part B is stuck because part A and part B interlock, if you see part B, then it stuck to part A, then you go, oh, there's part B in here. If you don't see any part B, then there isn't any B. Because if there was a B, it would have stuck to the A. So that's Eliza in a nutshell, I think, if I remember right. But lysing is to like cut something. But like you can like lice. Anyway. Seven of Cups is a card of choices, visions, illusions, and daydreams. My teen daughter, Lisa Hunt's teen daughter, Kyra, posed for this painting and beautifully captured the feeling of the card with her expressive countenance and hands. She looked wistful, hopeful, and yearning at all the cups in the clouds. The Seven of Cups card warns you not to take on too much or have unrealistic expectations. Excuse me. As a dreamer who spent my life making art, I've always gravitated to the Seven of Cups. When I was a child, a teacher told my father, "She has her head in the clouds." I doodled and daydreamed my way through childhood. During my teenage years, drawing was a coping mechanism. By age 15, I was determined to be a professional artist. Through focus, hard work, and determination, I took my dream of building an artist's life and made it a reality. I hope this painting inspires you to stay focused, allowing dreams to manifest themselves in productive ways. Interesting. The reason why this is extra interesting is because of that Three of Pentacles, something unexpected. The puzzle basically completing itself. All you got to do is the stuff that you got to do. Standing in a position to allow dreams to manifest themselves. Which is, again, like where we started, especially with the Hangman at the bottom of the deck. The only card we saw was the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords doesn't necessarily always have the capacity, especially this Two of Swords. I guess if you read it a certain way, it could. But it doesn't necessarily always have the capacity to allow for something like that, because the Two of Swords can get so deep into the weeds of logistics and timelines, and this has to happen by that day, and it has to come in this way. And it's like, I have my 12-step plan. And if I don't make it to step 2, then I'll never be at step 8. And what I love about this Two of Pentacles, especially in relation to this, it's like both pentacles are up in the air, right? There's the light. Oh my gosh, with all the hearts that came out, yeah. Anyway, both pentacles are up in the air. It's almost like this is the epitome of like surrender. The surrender that allows dreams to manifest themselves. The surrender that puts us in a position to receive everything that we want. And the thing that I love the most about the Seven of Cups is that, like, there are so many artists that didn't have in their lifetime as much appreciation as they got after their passing. And she's like, I created that life while I was still living. It's almost like a you don't have to die to experience heaven types of energies. If I still would have been pulled to the Santa Muerte, what card would have come out to clarify or to begin the clarification? No, don't close my tab. I'm still live. Oh, I'm glad we made it back here, Perry, because Patrick was Patrick for a second. But Patrick has learned that Patrick is the only person that he can be in all of his sides and facets and aspects. They're all gorgeous and lovely and bring something to the table. I'll take you. You were not supposed to fall on the floor. The King of Swords is the bottom of the deck now. King of Swords is an energy that's gone through a whole bunch of transformation on this channel. Oh, it's almost my bedtime. I can't be on here all night no more. I got somewhere to be in the morning. The Hermit. The Hermit was behind whatever card was at the bottom of the deck. The Magician, maybe? This is about circumstances. This whole reading is about circumstances. Circumstances and situations. More so internal circumstance versus external circumstance. This Seven of Cups creates an internal circumstance, or the Seven of Cups holds a set of internal circumstances. I just had this thought earlier today or yesterday. It's fine. Um, Internal circumstances. The internal circumstances are configured and aligned in such a way that they override like external parameters. The internal circumstance of this Seven of Cups is so good and clean and aligned to her dreams and desires that they manifest themselves, basically. It's like she doesn't have to put energy towards manifesting anything in particular. This almost goes back to temperance. It feels like it pulls on temperance. It pulls on temperance with the Two of Swords. It's this internal circumstance that makes it difficult for us to more naturally and more easily sort of align to certain things, or for them to be as easy breezy, beautiful, and flowy as they could be. It's because we're like self-conflicted, and because of all of the very real and sometimes contradictory emotions that we have, let alone like physically, mentally, energetically, whatever. Like this isn't necessarily an energy that could just like do this again, because of all of the like what ifs and the buts and the whatever. But with that hermit, like being in the coffin, when you're in the coffin, like you're separated, you're separate from the rest of the world. It's just you. Instead of it being a chessboard, I guess it's a coffin. Like you're in the coffin and you're trying to get out, and there's some kind of barrier or force field keeping you inside the coffin. There's a decomposer energy here. It doesn't have to be vulture, but vulture is like the easiest one. And we are about to hit that Scorpio full moon as we're concluding the Scorpio Taurus nodal cycle as Jupiter is conjuncting the North Node. Um, but yeah, it's like it's this internal circumstance that is so strong. It's this light that shines from the inside that it's like moths to a flame. Certain things have no choice but to be attracted. And then the King of Swords is here at the bottom of the deck, with the Ten of Pennies behind the Ten of Swords, and the King of Wands behind the Ten of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups behind that Ten of Wands. So we've got air, we've got earth, we've got fire, and we've got water. Under this is the Wheel of Fortune. We have all four elements with the Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune, more typically than not, holds. It is a Sag full moon. You are very right. We're already out of Taurus season anyway, because it was a Scorpio full moon. We're under the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse energy for the next 6 months until the next lunar eclipse. Anyway, yeah, you're right. It's the Sag full moon. Sorry. Um, Maybe it happened. Maybe it began happening with the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse. Could be. Um, but like all four elements are present. The only one that's not bringing out court card energy is Pentacles, and you're sitting at the Ten of Pentacles. And then there's this Wheel of Fortune here. The Magician was at the bottom of the deck under. Who was at the bottom of the deck? Was it the. No, it wasn't the Wheel of Fortune. It was the Hangman. The Magician was under the Hanged Man. As it's this like almost being forced to stay in this position until there is at least a certain amount of mastery, a certain level of mastery that is found in basically all four corners, because all four of the elements are here in this position as it's being strongly encouraged. And then that super heavy Wheel of Fortune that you cannot move any other way, or that we don't necessarily have too much control over. And it's not that we have any control over the wheel. But when the internal circumstance is strong enough, there's some influence. That's what happens here when we reach that. Kings, Knights, and the Ten of Pentacles. Cute. But again, it's like there's something about this that like feels like it keeps pieces on the board. It's like it's not gonna let you move until you make the right move. And it will. But there's just like something to be gained. There's something to be had. There's something to be learned. It seems like it would have got a lot more gorgeous a lot quicker if I would have just walked away from it. If I wouldn't have been like, you know what? We're going to buckle up our pants and just dive into it. But again, I feel like it almost plays into what I was saying earlier. Like, of course, we want gorgeous, beautiful energy. And of course, we want that reading that says we don't have to do any work. And of course, we want to believe it. But it's like, again, it's one of those things that it's one of those truths that are true, that are like always true, but that don't necessarily ring as true. They don't ring as loudly all the time. Um, before we reach the point where there's like a belief in that truth. It's like a flat word or an empty word. And sometimes you're dealing with something that is a lot more feeling based than it is word based. But, you know, sometimes the words help us get there. Anyway. You only say Ophiuchus because it's a 13 cycle. I think last year we had 13 full moons, but only 12 new moons, or vice versa. Because I remember like December felt like amazing. And then it felt like the year didn't start for a minute. Or it felt like something was like snagged a little bit. But all right, final card from the Santa Muerte. Santa Muerte, Santa Muerte, Santa Muerte. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. Glad to hear it, Perry. Even if I didn't necessarily love my job, I've always had amazing coworkers. So glad for them. Who are you? Oh. The Five of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords. With the Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck. Who's behind the Four of Wands? The Moon. The Moon was at the bottom of the deck when I started. The Four of Wands and the Moon. Judgment is behind the Moon. You see that? Maybe not. Maybe there you go. Like these feel, this looks like all of the heads that the Queen of Swords let roll. Or the skulls of the heads that the Queen of Swords let roll. But with the Four of Wands at the bottom of the deck and the Moon, I'm going to let you interpret this how you see fit. Pause it if you need to. Here we go. Condensation. Condensation. Did I ever get to the pyrimidine? Maybe. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Also, I guess like just wrapping around to the I was gonna say hot garbage. It's not hot garbage. Wrapping back to the truth that my truth that I was sharing. not the truth that I was sharing, wrapping back to my truth that I was sharing. I think there are a lot of things that are also quickening. And I think there are a lot of things that are adding momentum to things that produce change or things that lead to change. And so there could be many systems of belief or of tracking certain things that could be going through an almost overhaul. But it's just, again, it feels like there's so much, there's an energy that is providing momentum to certain things. And so certain things may not take as long as they traditionally do, or as long as they used to, or as long as they do, like on file or on the textbook. Which is why I feel like that Seven of Cups with the Two of Pentacles and like the internal condition is like so. It's not important. It's not unimportant, but it feels like it's like that super flu that came out like all the way back. It's like it helps us get into that super flume and it carries us a lot farther, a lot faster. And for that, again, it's like it's that Three of Pentacles. It requires a certain level of surrender, is a word that I feel like circulates that most accurately describes what it is that I'm trying to communicate. It requires a surrender of like, as long as that internal structure, as long as that internal foundation is solid, it'll be able to withstand the forces of that super flume, and like you won't sort of like crumple up and drop out. You know what I mean? Because it could be a lot, but it's like it'll move you exactly in the way that you want to go and in the way that you need to go. Because at that point, they're aligned enough that what you want and what you need, they're aligned enough that you want what you need, but you might also want some extra. But it's like it again, it'll keep you in that. Your dreams will manifest themselves basically because of all of the support, because of all of the energetic momentum that's being added to like energies. There's the Magician again at the bottom of the deck. This Magician changes shape. There's the King of Swords. The King of Swords with the Magician. It was the King of Swords, the Ten of Pentacles, the King of Wands, and the Knight of Cups. The King of Swords was what led that cluster of differing elemental energies. And then here's the entire Magician. Love it. Also, it's like Sir Ian McClellan. It's Gandalf. It's who am I? Not Gandalf. I feel like Ian McClellan was a Gandalf character that wasn't Gandalf. Anyway, he's not Dumbledore. Ian McClellan was not Dumbledore. All right, Pride Tarot. What's the last card you have? Pride Tarot's like, it's coming, babes. Like, you may not see it coming. You may have gone quite some time without it. It may have been tough. It may have been rough. But know that there are surrogates out there and that there's a place for you. Maybe that place wasn't where you were. Maybe that place wasn't where you really wish it would be or would have been. But just because it didn't happen then doesn't mean it won't happen now. The Page of Wands. Bottom of the deck is, guess what's at the bottom of the deck? The Magician. I'll read the Page of Wands, and then I will end this video. Page of Wands by Felix Dion. A confident young Garifuna man stands on a beach on the island of St. Vincent. The Garifuna are the descendants of escaped slaves and the local Carib Indians who developed their own culture which is a fusion of both. They remained independent from the Europeans for much of their history and today live along the Caribbean coast and on several islands. The young man is dressed in the 18th century clothing of the era of Joseph Chateaubriand, Chateaubriand, who was the last independent chief who led a rebellion against the British and who was considered a national hero throughout the region. He therefore embodies the rebellious attitude of the era and the strength and bravery of the Garifuna people. He regards his wand, which is firmly planted in the sand. It blooms with new growth as though it has taken root. He brings a message of courage and independence. Courage and independence. And with this energy, like with the energy of the. That makes sense. This, again, it goes back to a reading. Um, the wand was the one tool that was almost missing because it's so easy for the wand, because it's a lot of times it's easier for the wand to use us rather than it is for us to use the wand, that the wand and the ego and desire and like all of these things are things that we must eliminate. If you want something, the key to getting something is not to want it. Sorry. Sorry. Anyway, this is the end of the video. We're not going there. But I think sometimes the reason why that is because sometimes it's difficult to think of something that we don't have. Sometimes it's difficult to think of something that we want in a way that is not centered around us not having it, if that makes sense. Like sometimes we think like I want a piece of cake, but everything in us is like I don't have any cake, I don't have any cake, I don't have any cake. I don't have this, I don't have that. And it's like it's not desiring something that's unhelpful. It is not even the ego that is unbeneficial or non-beneficial whenever we pursue something. It's our tendency to overly focus on the absence of it that becomes the real blockage, that becomes the real issue. But the wand, in some reading, like within the past few months, it was like the wand was now this tool that we could use and it sped everything up. Most things move faster under the presence of heat. When you like cool it off, that's when things slow down. At absolute zero, everything stops. There's no movement at all. In that place of no movement, we are connected to the everything. Sure. But you don't have to like give away and sacrifice everything to sort of get there. You do still, it's still beneficial and helpful to be in a place of like surrendering to however the thing wants to manifest, like to stand ready to receive those dreams to the point where they manifest themselves. The wand is the tool, the wand is the thing, and the wand is blooming. The wand is alive, almost as if it's taken root. But that wand he can take anywhere. It's not Earth, right? Anyway, the wand and the magician. The wand is also an important tool. Under the magician is the tower. I was just curious. I wanted to see. Oh gosh. It's almost like, oh, I watched that video. Anyway, uh it's almost like when this wand is introduced in a way that like blows the top off of this tower. It's like that's the speed at which things like happen. It's like quick. And since there's nowhere else for that to go, the top just like pops off of the tower. But because the top pops off of the tower, it's like there's a release of some kind of limiter. That's when you get into that territory that, whoo, you know. And that's where I'm gonna leave that. But yeah, I don't know. That's just something I've been thinking about many things and thinking about more things lately. Thinking about sorta, I guess. I've been ruminating a little bit. I've been considering things. Um and yeah, that was one of the things. It's just like it's because it's so easy for us to focus primarily on the absence or lack of something that it is more beneficial to us to not even want it. But in my own personal beliefs, and you don't have to believe anything that I believe. If you believing what I believe is not going to help you get along your way any faster. If it is not, if it don't resonate as true for you, it's not going to help you. It may get you somewhere, it may get you a little ways, but you'll get a lot farther, a lot faster if you find those truths that are true for you that work in that way to align those circumstances and things of that nature. So, thank you. I appreciate it. It is like that's in my interview, it's just like it's continuously like in that second interview, I knew that the timing was right for me to find it at the time that I found it. Apparently, the timing being right is the time is very right. And there are other things that I guess it's one of those things that because I don't want to say it came easily because the timing was so right and because the alignment was so present, because the process was so smooth, I wasn't even aware of how difficult of a process like it is until people brought it up. It came up in training and they're like, yeah, like this, it's not necessarily an easy process. Like, and then I was talking to my mom and she was like, yeah, it isn't. Like, but again, something about the timing is just so smooth and everything. It is my year of expedition. So I guess at some point the expedition would be underway. At some point the adventuring would begin. I had more resistance to it than not, and it took me some time to work through that resistance. And then I was able to be like, you know what? And then everything's coming. I'm like, okay, anyway. Um, the timing is right. The alignment is there. Everything is so perfect for where I am. And again, it's like it really was an opportunity that I had to grow into. It's something that I've wanted for a long time. And because in my giant thorny portal in my Saturn return, because I stuck it out and because I toughed it out, it made me so much of a match for this position that it was like, okay, like I don't want to say it was a no-brainer, but it qualified me in a lot of ways. And it taught me a lot of things that again on that tour, like I'm glad I toughed it out because if I would have stepped forward any sooner, if I would have rushed into it, I would have probably immediately buckled under the pressure. Immediately. I wouldn't have made it past the tour. Like it would have been it probably still would have went fine. And then they would have been like, "Hey, so like we're extending an offer. What are you thinking?" I'm like, I'm going to pursue other things cuz but anyway. Um but I guess internal circumstance anyway. It's I forget what I was saying, but thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As always, I hope you all find whatever it is that you're looking for. I hope you're having whatever kind of day, whatever kind of year, whatever kind of week you want to have. I hope you're having it. And whatever you need along your path, journey, and way to illuminate and elucidate what it is that you truly want, I hope you find. And I only say that because I think sometimes we hope for things that we don't really want to receive. because we feel that we aren't ready to receive them, or because of whatever you got to do to get where you want. I hope you take your time in getting there, and I hope that in taking your time, it's not any slower than it need be. And if times get rough, challenging, or difficult, I hope you the guidance, intuition, knowledge, again, anything that you need to get where you're going. Because the more people there, the better for all of us, right? Less raging people on the road, less rude people in the grocery stores, less people making things awkward in the restaurants, more just like everyone's cool, everyone's vibing. Girl, alignment, crazy. Anyway, and I will catch y'all's whenever I catches ya. Hold up. Ain't nothing even on here. Why are you doing this? And I will, yeah, I'll catch you when I catch you. I thought it was muted for a second. It's not. Bye.